the gyroscope broke, which is the piece of equipment that tells your airplane if you're upside down or not. So they took off, manually switched to autopilot. Our plane went crazy, flipped upside down. We were half a second from hitting the ground. I'm about to meet Jesus. That's all I could think was like, it's happening.
Did you get a pedicure recently?
Yesterday.
Oh,
because we're going to the beach tomorrow.
Oh, not for me, because you're going to the beach.
Yes.
Well, you don't have to do this, but I do because I'm obsessed with like texture and fuzzy things that make me talk more.
Yes.
Do you want to?
I do. I do. I really do.
Scheme. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yay. Oh,
So,
of course they're like cowboy boots.
No, they're like, well,
Oh.
they're kind of cowboy boots, kind of.
They're sexy cowboy boots.
Yes.
We are in Nashville, people.
We are in Nashville.
Obviously.
But I'm obsessed with free people.
I am too.
I get everything from free people.
Yeah. Yep. They're not cheap.
They're not cheap, but they're great. Yes.
You want matching?
What
Like,
matches
and by the way,
me?
they're all
Oh, that
clean.
does match me.
They're all clean, I promise. I just
Those
took
are
the tag
so
off, so it's
cute.
quick. I'm running out of them though. I gotta go shopping. Back to
you.
Marshalls. Thank you for playing along.
Oh my God, these do make you talk more. I can already tell.
Well, listen, I won't keep you longer than I'm supposed to, and look, I'm doubling up. Actually, I did get a pedicure because I was in Mexico, and it's like bright.
Oh, yours matches. See, I got pink. I got light pink here and dark pink there, just for the beach. Yeah.
Strategy, boys. Are you listening?
Yeah.
You don't just throw nail polish on. You have to actually.
No,
intentional.
We have to do so much.
I know. Do we do it for ourselves or do we do it for them? That's
I do it for myself because. No, I don't know. I do it for everyone, I guess.
But hopefully for yourself first, because it does feel good.
It does.
And
feel
ugly
good.
feet are not cute.
When you're on stage, your whole life basically, it's difficult to see a picture where you're like, wow, that's not the way I used to look.
So hard.
And I'm not complaining. I'm just like, but I do care very much about it.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, when my girls were teenagers, I would make little comments about like my own weight and criticize myself, and they used to get so mad at me. And now they're 21 and 20, and they do the same thing, and they're like, we totally get it now. Yep. We totally get what you were saying.
It's so hard. I'm glad, actually, what a great place to start, because I've been struggling a lot with that. Like, menopause is definitely here, and I don't have like a bunch of hot flashes, but I have other things. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, I am working out just as much. I'm eating just as well.
Right.
Why do things look different? And it's not okay, and I don't know how to fix it.
I know.
But I always said that to my girls. Like, what did I say? It's not about being skinny, it's about being strong. Like,
right.
And whatever that looks like, but if you have strength, I feel like you're healthy. And the scale, I don't even own a scale. The numbers don't matter. We know by how our clothes fit, right? Yeah. But I do think we have a responsibility as mothers of daughters in particular to watch what we say.
Totally.
And it's made me a little nicer to myself, but it's real.
Yeah. I think, when you're a girl, when you're a daughter and you have a mom who is in the spotlight or whatever, like, you still kind of want them to just be a mom. Like, I think my girls just want me to be a mom because, in other words, they don't, like, it's their time to shine.
Yeah.
Because they're in their 20s where they don't realize that we still feel exactly the same as we did in our 20s. Exactly.
Better.
Like, better, yeah. Like, and I'll never forget my dad telling me this years ago. He's like, I still feel like I'm 25.
Yeah.
That never changes, and it's true. Mentally, you stay the same for the most part. And, so it's a struggle, especially when you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
And you're having to, like, be seen all the time.
Yeah. Well, like you said, being on stage.
Yeah.
Everything's exposed.
The worst word anyone can say to me is still, like, especially about my music, because I'm a better singer now than I was 20 years ago. I'm a better writer. I'm a better performer. And when someone like comes to the meet and greet, all my meet and greets are after my shows. And they're like, God, girl, you still got it. You still sound great. And I'm like, take the word still out.
I know.
Why still? Just be like, you sound great.
You sound great, period.
Yeah.
Or, gosh, you look great for 52.
Yeah.
Just say,
you look great.
Great. Can we take out the qualifier?
Right. It's crazy.
It hurts. And I noticed it 30 years in TV. And every day, once I got to the national level, you have a makeup artist there doing your face. And it's like every day you look in the mirror and you see yourself up close and personal. Mm-hmm. You see yourself aging.
Right.
Live, almost.
Right.
Most people don't sit in front of a mirror for an hour a day.
That's right.
And then have a makeup artist go, hey, let's do something to raise that eyebrow.
Right.
It takes a toll.
And also, what I find difficult is like looking in the mirror, like getting your makeup done, looking in the mirror and going, wow, I look great. And then it's not the same on camera. Like I never think I look as good on camera as I do in person, and it's so frustrating. I'm like, why can't they make, the cameras are like way too high def.
I know.
The iPhone camera is way too high def.
Way too good.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
good quality is not helpful. Like I always say when I was at ESPN and doing sports my whole career, I was like, I love watching games once technology caught up. I love watching games on high definition. I hate being on high definition.
I hate it. Like, I'll never forget when it changed, remember? And every TV show started looking like a daytime soap opera, and I was like, what is going on? This is so weird. Yes. I hate, and now we're used to it. But
you know, I will say this: I was a guest host on The View like 4 times. This is 10 years ago, before it got to this level where they couldn't pay me enough to go sit in that chair for 5 minutes.
No, I was going to apologize. I'm sorry. I've been a guest host on The View too.
Yeah.
Also,
back in the day,
more than 10 years ago.
Yes, mine was in the Barbara Walters days, and it was a little more sane then, but not much. Anyway, when I would look at myself on camera there afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, I love me again.
Yeah.
Which is not right. But the filters in that studio are the best in the business.
Yeah, that's right. I was always happy with the way I looked on that show.
No,
yeah,
that's the key.
So why are they so grumpy? They should look good.
They're miserable human beings for other reasons, I think. I know. It's so sad because that was my favorite show. Back in the day with like when Lisa Ling first started off on it.
Right.
That was my goal, was to be part of that show.
Right,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, they don't want me now either, trust me, but so it's all good.
No, I have no desire to go and get yelled at.
It's okay, they don't want us.
No.
Look, I don't know your exact situation, but if you're like the thousands of homeowners American Financing talks to every single month, you are struggling to keep up. I mean, barely making ends meet, drowning in high interest debt. And it's not your fault. Life got more expensive, right? Inflation, it hit hard. And if you're still carrying credit card balances with 20% plus interest rates while your mortgage sits untouched, you're ignoring the one thing that could turn it all around, your home. And this is where American Financing can help. Answer this: would you trade 10 minutes for a shot at saving an average of $800 every single month? Because that is exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. It really is simple. Trust me, it's a simple, no obligation call that could change everything. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there really isn't any incentive to put you into a loan that doesn't make any sense. And there are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. So do not wait. Call American Financing today and start feeling that relief. 866-886-9262. That's 866-886-9262 or americanfinancing.net/sage. I will say, or I should say to people, like how we got connected. I knew who she was a long time before she knew who I was, and that's how it should be. Because your music, like you said, you've been a great singer, musician for years.
Thank you.
40 years? Nah, 35, 30.
No, I had my first big hit basically in 2000.
Okay.
So that was my first number one, so 25 years.
But this has been you. Music has defined you.
My whole life.
Your whole life.
Yes.
So that's where the 40 came from, because when you were a kid,
yes,
like, it was always part of it. But this one sent me a DM on Instagram. Thank God for Instagram, right?
I know.
And this is just a couple months ago, and I had been on Jesse Waters' show on Fox News. And I had a fangirl moment, and I was like, oh, Sara Evans just DM'd me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I DM'd you and said, you were amazing. I just saw you on Jesse Waters. You were amazing, and you were, and you always are. And I was like, we need to be friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It meant the world. It's also a reminder, because sometimes I hope people aren't watching when I don't feel like I've done well enough, which is quite often. And then I'm like, oh gosh, what did I say? Did I say anything crazy or whatever? And then I'm like, this is proof. People, especially his show, right?
Yes.
But people do watch. And what it was, though, is because if you're on Jesse Waters' show, that usually means that, you're in agreement about certain topics, and it could be any number of things these days for sure.
That's right.
But what it taught me was there's so many more people who are aligned with loving America. That's basically what it comes down to for me, and I think for
100%.
You and millions of others as well. 'Cause not everyone's going to agree on every policy. It's about the love of country and kindness towards each other and stopping.
Right. And kindness, even if you don't agree with everything. It's like, that's what's blown me away in the last, 5 or 6 years, or no, 10 years, probably 9 years, is the absolute, like, you cannot have a certain opinion.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be like, and I grew up on a farm in Missouri. I come from a very old-fashioned upbringing. I have 2 older brothers and 4 younger sisters. And, my brothers started taking guitar lessons when I was 4. They came home and would practice their songs. And that's what started this whole thing, because I would learn the songs and sing along with them. And then our parents realized that we had musical talent, and like real musical talent. So I'm so grateful to them, because a lot of parents, but thank God it was in the 70s when there was no iPhone, and because my mother wasn't lazy about it. She took action, and she hired musicians, she bought music equipment, started booking us. So by the time I was 6 years old, I was singing in bars, like watching drunk people two-step, and doing the 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. gigs.
Yeah.
So I spent my entire childhood, teenage years on stage until I moved to Nashville and got a record deal with RCA. So I think if she had had an iPhone, that wouldn't have happened, because she would have been spending so much time on the couch looking at Instagram, and it's just kind of sad. Like,
I do think that is where so much of the negativity and hatred comes from.
Absolutely.
Usually, if you're in the grocery store, or okay, maybe if you're on the highway, fine. But otherwise, grocery store, a concert, a football game, people are kind.
Yes.
People smile. And I know damn well that we don't agree on probably at least half of the issues, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that hatred it's certainly there, but it is, the volume is up on it on your phone, but not like this.
Right. And in mainstream media, I mean, it's perpetuated. They want it. They love it. They crave it. I mean, like, keep them fighting. And it's like, really, and you see this, like, even on Jesse Waters when he sends that guy out to the streets, people are reasonable. People will talk about things. And even if you don't agree, like, not everybody's mad. Not everybody's, we're not mad at each other, really. It's, I think, the people higher up that we're angry with. We're angry with some things that have happened that we don't approve of, that we didn't know about, that, and it's just like, and I'm incredibly patriotic, and like I said, we're farmers, and so I grew up in, middle America. So I did grow up in a very conservative household, and I just want happiness, and the Norman Rockwell picture of, let's do a 4th of July parade, and because that's how I grew up.
That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
I think that's how most people, we're exactly the same age. That's how most of us, pretty much all of us, grew up. In middle America, even on the coasts. California wasn't as crazy then as it is now. Certainly neither was New York or some of the Chicago. It just wasn't.
Exactly.
The patriotism was okay. I do believe we're getting back there.
Yes.
And thank you to all those people who have fought and, against cancel culture, et cetera.
Right.
But I wonder, in your industry, and I think in this area in Nashville and, country music in general, it's always been seemingly from the outside, more accepting, more patriotic in general. Maybe that's what it is.
Yes.
But it's interesting also that it seems as if only very few of the musicians are more outspoken about their beliefs, whatever they are. Why do you think that is compared to other types of music?
Yeah, other genres. I do think a lot of it has to do with that middle America. Most of us came from small towns. Most of us are just, singing country music, which is about patriotism, and then also, but it's also about being in the country, and it's about family, and it's a lot about religion, faith in God. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of organized religion, but I'm a born again Christian, and so I think that especially before you could become famous on TikTok and then make it in any genre of music, I think most country artists grew up in a small town or in the country, moved to Nashville, and that was just the thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I also think that to make it in country music is incredibly difficult. So if you have a hit record in the pop world, you might sell 10 million albums when we used to sell albums. And you were rich and famous. And in the country world, it takes a lot longer to get to that spot. So,
interesting.
So I think that...
Is it safer? Is that what it is? Is it safer to just stay quiet?
I think it's safer to stay quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's actually in any industry, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
It is safer.
If you're conservative, it's safer to stay quiet. But what's sad is that there's so many misconceptions, about people who lean more on the conservative side of things. Because I think that, for instance, when a church or a Christian, says things that are mean, like I hate those signs like turn or burn. You're going to hell.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Help.
That doesn't help because that's not how we feel.
Exactly.
In fact, we feel the opposite.
Yes.
And it's like with me and my relationship with the Lord, it's like, when I'm the biggest sinner of all. I've had so much trauma and drama and problems in my life. I've had, years of my life where I've drank way too much. And but that's when you go to God. You don't wait and go to God until you're perfect.
Yeah.
But
that's what, in my journey, that's what I thought. Like I was embarrassed at, what I was doing wrong, intentionally or not. And so I was like, let me just fix it because then he'll accept me.
No.
And I know that now. And I knew it deep down.
It's just the opposite.
Exactly. And I think that's the message
that
I feel like with a platform, we are kind of responsible to help get out because that's the truth.
Absolutely. Because the Bible talks about, if like the shepherd will leave his entire flock for one lost sheep. And the Lord feels that way. And you can understand it a lot better when you have children because think about it. There's nothing your child could ever do to make you not love them.
Yes.
Or to make you love them conditionally or that you wouldn't forgive them for or embrace them or bring them back, And we're just flawed, sinning human beings. I mean, we were born with a fallen nature. We were born sinners. God is perfect and we are his children. So think about how much greater his love for us is than our love for our own children. And I'm obsessed with my children. There's nothing they could do or say that would make me not love them. So if you can think about it like that, but God does want us to choose him. But it's not about a church. It's not about a building. It's about a relationship. The church is the body of believers in Christ that are on the earth. That's the church. So
have you always been this outspoken with your faith?
Yes. I mean, I got saved when I was 21. And I grew up in a little country church, and I got baptized when I was 10 or 11. I knew the principles, and I knew the Bible stories, but I remember being 20 or so and having all those fears of, oh my God, what if there's nuclear war? What if there are too many people on the planet? And I started being really, really scared. And then I just picked up a Bible. I read the New Testament. I didn't go to church. Nobody preached to me. Nobody like led me to the Lord. It was just what I read in, John 3:16. God loved the world so much that he gave his son, that all you have to do is believe in him and then you'll live forever in eternity.
Yeah.
So I think that, any pastor or church or anything like that tries to say, well, I'm between you and God. Like, in order for you to get to God, you've got to come through this church or through me. No. The Lord is for all of us, and Jesus died on the cross for all of us. So that's how I got saved, just from reading
That's a young
word.
age to be saved, I think. 21.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember where I was at 21.
Yeah.
And I was a good kid,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh my gosh, you're trying to make it in your career and
right.
Figure out who the heck you are. So I feel like that's...
I was tired of being afraid. I was like, I shouldn't be having these fears. I mean, God created this earth. He knows what he's doing. And the Bible says, go multiply, have children. Like, so it just didn't make sense to me to fear those things that we were being told to fear.
Yeah.
When I trust the Lord with everything. And like, I always tell the kids, God is always providing and protecting. So if it's a no, he's protecting you from something. And he's going to provide something else.
Patience.
Yes. Now
Trust.
that's easy to say. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not that I don't struggle with fear. Like, I pray every single day, Lord, please don't test me with my children. Please don't make me...
with your children. Okay.
Please don't make me prove what I'm attesting to by saying, oh, it's okay. Like, God's always protecting and providing, because I wouldn't be able to handle something tragic. I mean, I don't want that. But at the same time, as believers, we have to trust the Lord.
We have to trust.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of no's that I know we all in this room have received. Now in my 50s, I can say, okay, that sucks, but there's a reason. There's always a reason. Mm-hmm. What's the biggest no that you've gotten?
I think, God's been really good to me. I mean, everything's been a yes. I mean, I've been blessed with 3 amazing children. I have 4 amazing stepchildren. Yeah. I have an amazing husband. We almost lost our marriage. Our marriage was saved. And that is purely like following the word, following Jesus's words. Because the main thing Jesus talked about was love God, love others. Jesus didn't go around like, you're going to go to hell. You're going to, Jesus was like, I'm going to go hang out with the people who need me, who are lost, And so I am so grateful, because honestly, here's the biggest no I've had. My parents divorced when I was 12. My dad moved out of state, and I didn't have the relationship with my father that I wanted. And then he passed away in 2022. God, I'm terrible with dates, because the COVID time was so confusing.
Exactly. It's a couple years ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. And so that was a no, because I didn't have the relationship with my dad that I wanted. But I will say, honestly, I've had so many yeses. I'm so grateful. I mean, I have nothing to complain about. Sometimes I would release a song and country radio wouldn't play it. Country radio made me work really hard for every hit that I had. Like, so hard. Like, there are some people who can have a hit record and then release another one, and it's an automatic. It's going to climb the charts, where country radio made me beg and plead for every spin that I got. And so, you could call that a no or whatever, but ultimately I climbed to the top of my business. I mean, I won Female Vocalist. I've had a lot of #1 records. Like, I'm incredibly grateful. That's not that I haven't had hard times, because I got hit by a car when I was 8, almost died in a plane crash. But I consider all of those things like yeses, because God saved me.
Because you're here.
Because I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah.
The plane crash was when?
The plane crash was 12 years ago, because my sister-in-law was pregnant with my niece, and she's 12. So whatever year that was.
Okay.
And yeah, I have an episode on my podcast about it where I was with my brother, who was my bass player, and his wife, who's hair and makeup. She was pregnant. We had 2 pilots and then another person. And the gyroscope broke, which is the piece of equipment that tells your airplane if you're upside down or not. So they took off, manually switched to autopilot. Our plane went crazy, flipped upside down. We were half a second from hitting the ground. And I can tell you honestly, I was not afraid to die. I was just like, I'm about to meet Jesus. I'm about to meet Jesus. That's all I could think was like, it's happening. It's not, I mean, it's happening before I wanted it to, but it's happening. And I was not afraid. Now, when I got home and saw my children, I was like, I love you so much. I've got to go take a shower, because I had to go get in the shower and sob, because I think it all hit me.
It hit you
right
how
then.
close you were to for them to not have a mother.
Them.
Yes.
And that's what I always pray, Lord, keep me healthy and safe for my children.
Yeah.
For my future grandchildren. You know, all of that. So
I cannot
you understand.
I can't imagine that moment. Very few of us can. By the grace of God, you're here to talk about it.
Yeah.
And you'll appreciate this. I traveled so much for work and have for years, but in particular starting in like 2012. And I used to have to go from ESPN's headquarters in like the Hartford, Connecticut area to LA on Thursdays, back on Sundays, red eyes, all the things. And I just thought, I'm tempting fate here by flying like this. So every time I would go to the airport and park my car, and I'd write a note to my kids and just put it in the glove compartment. And I thought, if I don't come back, if I die, how depressing, right?
Yeah.
If I die, then they'll
see that.
See that note that I was thinking of, like, this is so many years ago, and I get all,
Yeah.
because, not because of myself, selfishly, yes, because it would have been like, I would have missed seeing so much. They're all 3 in college now.
Right.
And by the grace of God, they're going to get degrees, and who knows.
Yeah.
But I remember every time I was writing the letter, I would cry in my car, and then you go, okay, flip that switch.
Yes.
Let's go to work. Let's do
Yes.
it. Let's support your family, right?
That's right.
But that's what it's like to be a mother.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
Where you just are fearful for somehow them being affected by anything we do.
Exactly. That's what got me when I got home, is thinking about, you know, all these years that they would have been without a mom, you know, and you know, nobody loves your children like you do. So yeah, I think I'm sure I've had a lot of no's, and I have not had an easy life. I'm not saying that. It hasn't been an easy life, but it's been an incredibly blessed life. And you know, so I'm
That's
just
a choice
grateful.
to look at it that way.
Yeah.
And to take all those no's. And yes, there were many, professionally, personally, whatever.
Right.
But because you woke up the next day.
Yes.
I do. I feel like that's a win.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so sad today too. I think about young women and the line that's been put on them about, you know, somehow being a mom is the greatest joy any human being can have. Being a dad too.
Yeah.
There's nothing that describes it. Yet, I don't know, a lot of women, it seems like today are like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, and I always tell my kids, like, I had the height of my success with 3 babies tagging along with me. I took them everywhere. Everywhere I went, they were with me. And all my dreams came true, career-wise.
Yeah.
And are still coming true. I'm still making records. I'm still on the road. I mean, I do 70 dates a year. And all of that with children. So like, kids don't stop you. They only add to you. I didn't become my true self, and I didn't become a true woman, and I didn't really become beautiful until I became a mom. And that made me a superwoman, becoming a mom. It really did.
It's funny, they talk about athletes who don't reach their peak until, especially male athletes, until they're married. And you see it, and they would, you know, back in the day, they tracked Tiger Woods, and
right,
that changed. But like in general, I agree with that.
Yes.
And also it helps you maintain perspective and keeps you humble.
Absolutely.
Because your kids do not care how many people are cheering for you on that stage.
I'll never forget, I saw Reese Witherspoon on Jay Leno one night, and she had just had Ava. And she said something that has stuck with me all these years, and I've always thought that is so true. She said, your child, like you could go in the kitchen, make a bagel, put cream cheese on it, toast it, jelly, get something to drink, get a napkin, sit down, blah, blah, blah. And your child is the only human being in the world that could come up and say, can I have that? And you go, there. Just give it to them.
When they were little,
With
now
joy.
I'd say make your own.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because they're grown. But your kids,
you're right.
They're the only people that really, you don't bat an eye.
You're
you
right.
just give them whatever whatever you have, you know. And then the second thing to do is make them into good people.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make them into good people. And that happens between birth and 5. Like, they have to know that you're serious. They have to respect you, you know. And you can spoil them with things if you want. You know, Avery, my son, I mean, we were always traveling, always on the road. So one of the things to keep us from getting bored during the day on the road is like to go to Toys R Us or go to Target or go, you know, to the aquarium or the zoo. So Avery had every single Thomas the Train, Lord of the Rings toy. But I disciplined him and made him be a good child and a good person, because your goal is you want people to like your children when they grow up, and you want to like your children. Mm-hmm. You know, I like Jordan Peterson. Is Lee in the middle?
No,
why did I put a Lee in the middle? I'm thinking of Jesse Lee.
Lee Zuli, or
I don't know why I put
Jordan
a Lee
Peterson.
Jordan Peterson.
I call him a philosopher, basically, right? That's what you're talking about? Yes.
I love him. And he talks about that. Like, you know, if you don't enjoy being with your children, then you're not raising them right. Like, you're spoiling them, you know, if they do things that annoy you when they're little and you don't enjoy spending time with them.
Yeah.
And that you should change that. So
I miss that time so
that was such
much.
a long-winded answer to your question. Would
No.
have been my nose.
No, I love
haven't had
it.
that many no's.
Well, again, you chose to take anything that wasn't what you wanted or whatever, and to
Protection.
say, yeah. How old are the kids now?
Avery's 25. Mm-hmm. Avery's my son. Mm-hmm. Olivia is 21 and Audrey's 20.
25, 20. Okay, so we're close.
Yeah.
Mine are just about to be 19, 21, 23.
Okay.
So same.
Yes, and it's so fun.
It is.
They become your best friends.
I'm getting there. Mm-hmm. Depends on the day, I think.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It is cool though, because my youngest just went to college in August, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and then I'm divorced and single.
Right.
And I remember being so upset and excited and proud of her at the same time for being the baby, and then and it's like, okay, I'm an empty nester. And a girlfriend wrote me, because I put it on Instagram, and she's like, you are not an empty nester, you're a bird launcher.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, it's true.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's not just that they're gone, first of all, because they're never fully gone. We don't want them to be.
We don't want them to be.
But to your point, from the moment of birth, you are trying to teach them how to live on their own.
Yes.
Which breaks our heart when they actually do.
Yes.
But it's like, okay, now they're adults.
Yes.
And go do it. And we pray that the good things that they've seen from us, that they use those, and then take the bad things too. Like I say to my kids all the time, don't waste my pain.
Yeah. Oh,
Please,
I love that line.
Don't waste it. There's been some and stuff, as you know, going through a divorce, there's things that they have experienced.
Right.
And I would do it 10 times over if they are better for it. And maybe smarter for it, or have more wisdom because of my pain.
Right. That's a great line. That's a great line.
Yeah, it sucks, but I think that's kind of the why behind it. Okay, so on that note, since I kind of dumped on you there, like what are you, is there something that you wouldn't change that has been like super hard? I mean, some of it you've been public about, other stuff probably not.
Yeah.
That you would do 10 times over, because they are.
That's a great question.
They're witnessing it. They always see more than we think too.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Good and bad.
Yes. My son and I were texting the other night for a couple hours, and we were just in this deep conversation about different personalities in the family, and and he used the word stoic for me. You're very stoic. And I looked it up, and I knew what it meant, but I wanted the exact definition, and I took it as a huge compliment, because it's like, says that someone who goes through a lot of hardship or is going through, but they keep it to themselves and they don't complain about it, they don't talk about it, they just keep it inside. And because I've never wanted to be a mom that manipulated my children with my pain, like you're saying, don't waste my pain. Like, I went through this, therefore you can't make decisions regarding this because I went through it. No, this is your life. It would, it would be like me saying you can never fly in a private airplane because I almost died in a private airplane. Like, no, this is your life.
Yeah.
And so with him saying that, I think if I would change anything, I don't know. I mean, I always kept it to myself. I didn't put what I was going through on them.
Sure.
And whether it was personal or, and I divorced their biological father when they were really little. And so that was something that they were too young to even remember or definitely understand. I've always kind of just kept it inside and saved it for a friend or saved it for, so I didn't really talk to the kids about what I was going through. Now we talk about everything, we're very close, and they tell me everything, which I love. And I would consider them my best friends, 3 of my best friends.
Did they ever ask? Did they ever? It's because they were babies, right?
Yeah.
So since then, because you kept it all to yourself, they didn't need to know then.
Right. And they eventually saw for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, they eventually saw for themselves and then completely understood. And, I tried to make a rule where I never would leave them for more than 3 days in my career. I had a couple of years where I would change, like 2014 and 2015, because I was kind of trying to stay on country radio. Country radio has been my Achilles heel because they make it so hard. You've got to go out on this radio tour. The kids went with me everywhere when they were little, but they grew up in Mountain Brook, Alabama. Once they started sports and, school and all of that, I regret not standing my ground more and saying no because I broke that rule a lot, thinking I had to. Like,
to stay away from home in order to accomplish your goals.
In order to get, and I noticed it with a little bit stronger. I noticed it then. I was like, it's really, really getting hard to get radio to play my music. And a little bit stronger ended up being a 3-week #1, but then after that, they made me start all over and do the radio tour and leave my children. And I just have a lot of guilt about that. So I think I would have just said F off, before that, because if I haven't proven by now that I'm a staple in this genre, then, but you're just, for whatever reason, I don't know the reason, but making me work harder than anybody. But at the same time, I'm still so grateful to God because I'm one of the most played country females of all time on country radio. So I did get a lot. But I will say that is a regret I had. Anytime that I left the kids more than 3 days, I felt extremely guilty. I don't know.
But now you can have that conversation with your daughter, right?
We talk about it all the time.
Especially as she becomes a mother
yes.
at some point, right? Like that's
both of them.
Yes.
And my middle daughter is engaged.
Okay, wait, because there's 3 and you have 2 boys and a girl.
No, I have a boy who's Avery, the oldest,
yes,
and then
he's
2
25,
girls.
and then 2 girls. Okay,
yeah, so
we
the
had
middle
compared,
one.
And mine's just a different order. My boy's in the middle. Yes.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's the thing is they can, and did the same thing, being gone, writing that letter every week.
Right. You feel so much guilt.
Missing a dance recital just because, I mean, someone has to put food on the table, right? Like, but it won't, I don't believe it will be wasted. Like those times for you, because they have a great relationship with you now to understand your why behind it.
We talk about it all the time. And
so
like,
isn't that a win?
Yes, because they're always like, Mama, it bothered you so much more than it bothered us.
Right.
Like, we were fine. We were hanging out with friends. You know, Daddy J was there. Like, we were fine. It bothered you so much more. And so I'm like, okay, you know, and they're great.
Yes.
We're extremely close. But yeah, I think just, you know, feeling, and I was even more of a self-employed person than you were, you know, technically.
Oh yeah, no, I was.
You had to do what ESPN said.
I had a contract. I had to take orders.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, I just felt the pressure. Like, I need to keep going. I want to stay on. I wanted to stay on the charts. I wanted to keep making hit records. You know.
So that song, I mean, it's a relationship song, right? I just want you to know that for me, I turned it, and just the little bit stronger part, and it was about career stuff for me. And when I decided to speak up, which happened organically, it was not like the plan. It was one of those things like, oh, okay, now they've backed me into such a deep, dark corner that if I don't, then I'll die. Career-wise, if not, who knows what else? It sounds dramatic, but that's kind of where I was. And so that's why I mean, I needed something besides hot tea. That's when those lyrics, it hit home differently for me, because that was 2010? 11,
I believe so, yeah.
I think.
Or 12, something like that. I'm so bad with years.
Decade plus ago, 10, 15 years ago. And I felt a little bit stronger.
Good.
Throughout it. And so I'm sure you've heard it every day since that hit #1 from somebody who's like, Sara, you help. But it's true.
And I didn't even write that song. I write most of my own songs, but that song, I truly believe, just came to me from God, because it was actually written by Hillary Scott with Lady Antebellum and Hillary Lindsey and Luke Laird and Troy Verges, I believe, 4 writers. And they pitched it to me. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe y'all don't want to record this. It's so amazing, but thank God.
Yes.
They pitched it to me.
That was you.
And I've heard it in so many stories like that. Like, for me, it wasn't about a relationship. It was about illness or a career or anything difficult, you know, to realize that you're actually a lot stronger. But, you know, that's what's so great about life, because it's fun not knowing. And I always look back and go, God, I'm so much better this year than I was last year.
Oh my goodness.
I know so much more this year than I knew last year.
Yes. So something you said at the beginning on that note, it rhymed, so it stuck out to me. Have you always said it? I've been through so much trauma and drama. Because
Yes,
you have.
Because I have, trauma and drama. And it seems to follow me, and I'm not sure why. But I was a born optimist. I feel like you're born, obviously you are, with certain genetics, and you're wired certain ways. And I was born an optimist. So I'm almost always optimistic about life. Sometimes I can get really down, but usually I can talk myself out of it and pray myself out of it, and just be like, you know, you've got to fight through this. I mean, because I've never had it easy. I've never had financial help, like, meaning as from parents, you know, we were farmers.
Yeah.
And so trauma and drama follow me, but I kind of like it because it keeps me grateful, and it keeps me on guard, kind of. But, you know, I've had to learn too, though, that I do deserve more than I think I do. You know, that's daddy issues.
Daddy issues.
Yeah.
Female issues, generational.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's trauma.
Yes. Yeah.
How have you?
Because my dad, you know, he was wonderful. Like, he was never mean to me or anything like that. We just didn't get to be close. But they didn't divorce until I was 12. So till I was 12, I was his little girl. And then when you live in another state, I mean, it's just hard, you know, to see each other. So, yeah, I think that I've always believed that I don't deserve much, but I'm getting better at that, a lot better. And with a lot of therapy and then, you know, marriage counseling, like all of it, I really do believe, I've always known that God loves me and that God and I have this special thing. Like, you know, he was with me when I got hit by a car, and he was with me every day in the hospital for 6 weeks. I was in traction for 6 weeks, 8 years old. The car was going 75 miles an hour, broke both my legs and both my arms. Like, there's been so many things like that. And so we've always had this special, like, thing, but I've always thought, you know, you really, I don't know, you really just need to be grateful because you've been so blessed beyond what you ever thought.
For sure.
Yeah.
But again, that's a choice to see it that way. I was talking about this recently with someone about times when I doubted, though. Mm-hmm. And not proud of it, but I came through the other side, so that's a win. We're gonna keep with that theme of winning, right?
And we all doubt.
Yes, but how scary. Like, do you look back at any time in particular, because there's been so much trauma and drama, that you really doubted and you thought, okay, I can handle a lot. This might be
I mean, too much. I would say it was, you know, what my husband and I went through, and I think I really doubted because I was in him, and we are so in love, and so I just didn't want to be, I didn't want our marriage to fail because he's my best friend, you know, and it was just a really bad time period. It was a really bad, like, 3-year period. And, you know, and again, thank God. I mean, we made it through, and, you know, we're incredibly healthy now. And that's just another answer to prayer. But
I wonder if you hadn't been through that, if your marriage would be as healthy today as you say it is.
I doubt it because I'm not good at speaking up for myself. You know, it's one thing, like, to be famous and have a team that works for you. Then I'm like, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, we need to do, that's different. But I still am a people pleaser. You know, like, I don't like, I'm such a people pleaser.
It's a terrible disease that we have.
Oh, why?
I know.
But I think in my personal life, I'm not good at speaking up for what I want. I'm stoic, like Avery said.
Keep it in.
Keep it in.
But has that changed since you and your husband got on track?
1,000%.
Wow.
And it's so good and healthy and fun and better. It's better. You know, it's better for him. It's better for me to go ahead and say what I'm feeling, say what I want. You know, I always just wanted to be pleasing.
Yeah.
Also, that could be from, you know, my parents recognizing my singing gift when I was 4. So they didn't do this on purpose. It just happened. But I got it in my head. You perform, you're loved. You perform great. We're pleased with you. That was never said to me. But I just think they were proud of me.
Yeah.
And so if you've got a kid that is great at something, you're going to be like, oh my God, sing for them, sing for everybody. And then everybody goes, oh my God, you're so good. And so I think I got it in my head, like, as long as you're pretty, you sing good, you're skinny, you're pleasing, you don't make a fuss, you don't ask for, you know, what you want. And as long as nobody's mad at you, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Thankfully, though, I've never really felt that way with the Lord. I've been fine with, you know, battling it out with God.
Like the imperfections. Because you know you'll be.
I know that he loves me.
Forgiven, and
unconditionally. I know that he loves me unconditionally, and that I can screw up and I've been forgiven. We've all been forgiven. Jesus died on the cross for our sins. All we have to do is accept that and believe it.
Yeah.
I
know you did so much work, both you and your husband, and counseling and therapy and so many things individually and together. And so as we talk about, not wasting our pain, et cetera, and he had 4 and you have 3, so that's 7 kids together.
Yes.
What, maybe, I don't know if you look at it as a gift, have those kids, all 7 of them, taken from your struggle as a couple and most importantly, where you are today?
I mean, again, I kept it all in. And so nothing was known. I mean, and I do think that's important. I don't think you should fight in front of your children.
Totally.
I don't think you should argue in front of your children ever. So I'm not exactly sure, what they think.
But I'm sure they see a difference in mom right now.
And dad. And
both of you.
Yeah. And, family as a whole, I mean, we're all incredibly happy. And I think we all just feel blessed. And, the kids were all so little when we got married. So, I wonder if any of them even remember us not being married. And probably not. I don't remember much before I was 5, And so I just feel incredibly, again, blessed, because it doesn't always turn out that way. And whatever might be going on with any of us, there's 7 kids altogether, and the 2 of us, whatever might be going on with any of the 9 of us is okay.
Yeah.
And everybody can feel the way they need to feel, and it's our job to just always try to do the right thing. You never go wrong by doing right, and to try to be as open. I'm a really open person. So I may be stoic, but that's about my own stuff, but about other stuff, I'm very open. And, I just want everybody to be happy. That's my prayer, is that all of those kids are happy. And,
But what about you? I hope that you, in quiet moments, can pat yourself on the back and be really proud of coming through the drama and the trauma and the perfectionism and all the things that we're trying to do. And the shame that, again, so many women our age have always done. And then realizing it and trying to work out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking career. Are you proud of yourself now for all those things that happen to be a lot more important?
Totally. And it's kind of hard to say because you don't want to be like, I'm so proud of myself.
No, it's not that.
But I am. But it's not me. I can't boast. It's the Lord that did the work, in me and in our marriage. So, pride, I mean, being proud is one thing. Having pride in the wrong way is so damaging.
Yes.
So, yes, I'm very proud.
In a humble way, I feel that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean look at me.
Right.
But it
or
is.
Look at what I did, because I really feel that the Lord did it all. I mean, and I believe so much in prayer. You don't have to be formal about it. You can pray all day, any day, all the time.
Yeah.
About anything and everything. And I just don't believe in the rules type of Christians where it's you shouldn't have a tattoo, or you shouldn't, you can, I smoked cigarettes, I've drank, that has nothing to do with it.
It doesn't.
The Lord just wants my heart and my companionship and relationship. And so I wouldn't have gotten through any of the trauma drama in my life since I can remember without him.
Yeah.
So I just feel really happy. And I think I'm probably in a place where I'm the happiest I've ever been in life. And that's pretty incredible.
It is.
To say.
It is.
Because I've had a lot of highs, but I think internally, what you were asking, to try to answer what you were asking, yes, internally, I think I'm the happiest I've ever been.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it gives, with the aging process that we talked about earlier too, I think it should give all of us hope and just a reminder, like your best years really are ahead of you, because then you take all the crap and you bundle it up and you're like, okay, and I'm still here.
I did it.
Yeah, and I pushed through. Like to me, I'm happiest now probably ever as well for many reasons, but knowing that it would have been much easier to stay in a comfortable space in many different ways. And it's like, no, we made this choice, but others are like my kids are benefiting from it.
Yes.
Not in maybe real tangible ways, but in the ways of like seeing that you got to be true to yourself. And they're saying, your kids are seeing that with you now. And I think that's
comforted. Our kids are so comforted when we're happy.
They feel it.
And I make sure to tell them, you know, like, just want you to know that I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely grateful, and, you know, I'm loving this age that the kids are. Like I said, we're all best friends. We do family dinner all the time. Like,
so they all live here?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah. Now.
That's great.
My stepchildren still live in Alabama. But we had to come back for music. It was just getting too difficult to do the career from there. You know, and 2 of the 3 are musicians and writers and artists and singers. And so Nashville's a place you gotta be to do that.
Even if you're not a singer or an artist, Nashville's the place to be.
It is. It's a great city.
Look, I'm all of a sudden doing all my shows here.
Yeah.
There's a real warmth to this town.
There is.
With so much to do and kindness. I don't know. I think I'm not. I pretend to be a Southern girl now.
I think everybody in Nashville's happy.
Well, most people are choosing to be here. I mean, certainly there are some who are locals.
Right.
But this is intentional.
Yes.
To be here.
You know, it's always been that way since I very first moved here, that it's a city of, you know, like people from all over, because everybody moves here to do music, just like everybody moves to Hollywood to act.
Yeah.
So it's rare that you meet someone who's from Nashville.
Yeah.
But way more so today. Way more so, because all the, you know, it's like everybody who left California either went to Texas or Tennessee. Nashville in particular.
Yes.
So it's really fun to watch, because you're meeting all kinds of people from everywhere that you're like, oh my God, we're all coming together kind of, and making this city, like, it's our city.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Should be proud.
Yeah. And it's country music city, but now it's kind of also something else.
Well, even like the neighborhoods. There's so much diversity in the neighborhoods, and there's all different ones, and the suburbs are great. Like it is a melting pot.
Yeah, and beautiful.
More so, and beautiful. Yes, yes. So I know you can claim it, you can have it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll just borrow.
Yeah. I count Alabama and Tennessee as my homes. I grew up in Missouri, but I haven't lived in Missouri since I was 18.
Yeah.
So I had an amazing upbringing, and I always love Missouri. I always have you know, it is when you go home to your childhood home, it smells a certain way, it looks a certain way, and you have so much, like, a special place in your heart for that.
Yeah.
And most of my siblings are still there.
Last question. I mean, you got a lot of good years left singing.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't take an expert to know that, and that is not me.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of it.
My leather cords my vocal cords are leather. They're made of leather. Like, apparently, I have the biggest mouth.
That's a good thing for what you do. What are your goals and plans and dreams with that aspect of your life?
You know, part of me really wants to jump in and help my kids, but I'm trying not to, because they have to do it on their own. They've got to make it on their own. And but I do love to, when they write a song and send it to me, God, it gives me so much joy, because it's like full circle, you know, and they've toured with me a lot, and Avery's played guitar for me and on my records and all that stuff. So it's really fun to see the kids have the musical talent. My whole family does. All my siblings, all of their kids, everybody's got that music thing.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that's really fun. And then for me, I just want to keep making great music and make cool music that I love. And I pray that I always stay cool. I don't want to turn cheesy just because I'm over 50.
Yeah, you're not. Do you see this? You are not cheesy.
Yeah, well, the socks help a lot. They really do.
We're just owning it at this point.
We're owning the socks.
But there's no cheese whatsoever with Sara Evans.
You either. None whatsoever. Also, like I said in the beginning, we still feel the same way.
Yeah.
Age is just a number. And I feel grateful to, still be here and still be doing what I love and writing and recording and producing and touring. Those 90 minutes on stage give me so much joy that it's inexplicable. You have to come to a show.
I would love to. Because I will
I'll bring you up
again.
on stage and introduce you to the crowd.
Oh, heck no.
So fun.
Okay, the camera's here. I'm like, fine. But people don't know, I get so shy.
In person, you get shy?
But then I love speaking in front of crowds. I have the biggest crowd has probably been 20,000. And there's a major adrenaline rush too.
Yeah.
So I'm all jacked up because I'm like nervous, but then once you get going, I'm like, bring it. Right? What is that? Like as a performer, and I guess in some ways I have been too, right? Because when the light goes on, that's mine. I know I can crush that. Ooh, am I?
You are. Of course you are. That's why I DM'd you. I was like, oh my God, you just rocked it. And I had to
maybe it's because, it really did and still does mean the world to me because I think all we are trying to do, normal people, which is the vast majority of Americans are trying to do, is if you have a platform to bring people together. For me, it is through my big mouth, I guess. For you, hey, you have a big mouth too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But through your words, through your actions, and through your music.
Right.
Yes. What a beautiful gift. And I do think it's our responsibility. I do. God has us in this place.
Right.
At this crazy time.
Yes.
For a reason, and what a waste if we don't use it. It doesn't mean you have to go on the campaign trail like I did.
Right.
It doesn't mean it has to be that loud. There are many ways to do it.
A lot of ways to do it. That's right. And my main thing is just to really encourage people that I really don't think we're as divided as they want us to believe we are. I just think that most of us just want happy lives. We want to raise our kids. We want to make decent money. We want to keep more of our money.
Yes,
and so that we can make decisions for our own families, do what we think is best instead of what, we don't need government telling us what's best.
No.
We know what's best for our own families, and family is so important, and then it expands out from there.
It's America. Mm-hmm. It's literally the American way.
Right.
A country girl from the farm in Missouri to an Army brat, and I grew up in different countries around the world.
Right.
We have the same vision, and I genuinely believe that most people agree. And hey, that's why there was a change in the White House, frankly.
Right.
And so now I don't care who's in the White House. I really do not. I mean, I care, but like at the end of the day, I just want us to win.
Yes.
And I feel like now there is some hope.
Yes, I want laughter again.
Yes.
I want happiness, and also just the only way to keep, I think, a society together, or any kind of group, any kind of club, any kind of, is everything has to be kind of, what am I looking for? Like middle?
Yeah.
It's like, for instance, if I came up to my band and crew and my team and all that, and all of a sudden I was like, we are now, all we're gonna do is 80s punk rock, and they'd be like, what?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think that most of us just want a peaceful day, lay our head down on the pillow at night and go, everything's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. And just kind of, change is good. Change is fine. Change is great. I don't want to record the same song. I mean, there's only one Suds in the Bucket. I will only do that song one time. You know what I mean? I will never record another song like that because that song is special.
Yes.
So not everybody has to be the same, but we need to be okay with, like, we're all Americans.
Yep.
We're all in this together. And man, we can't let it all fall apart.
My kids always say to me, it's not that deep.
Yes.
And I want kick them when they say that. I'm like, it is deep. Have a seat. But it's kind of true, at least for this. It isn't that deep. You do you. I don't really care what you do. Just don't make me,
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you for your courage in so many ways.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that about the country music channel, right? Where it's like, wait, what's it called?
Country radio.
Country radio.
Yeah.
Sorry. Where there were a lot of no's, and like it does, whether you want to admit it or not, it does take courage and strength to keep going back when they give you,
Yeah. I think
you.
the word that describes me the most is resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You are a girl,
Thank you.
but we win because of that.
Yes.
So thank you. And now I'm going to be your Nashville neighbor.
I'm so excited.
So don't ignore me when I come knocking on your door like, hey, friend.
We're going to hang. It's done. It's settled. I also thought you were so much younger than me. So you do your makeup great on TV. Let me just tell you that.
Really?
Yeah, you look amazing.
Thank you.
You do. And in person.
452, right? We're gonna put the qualifiers in for. No, we're gonna keep.
No, and in, yeah,
thank you.
Still,
but it's a choice. It's I am less mature now than ever before.
Yes.
I feel like that's part of it too. I'm like
you get more
really
confident.
old but super immature, and I'm
You're
like,
not really
then it bounces in the middle.
You get more confident, and it's just like, just enjoy life.
Exactly.
That's where I am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so
what
much.
A blessing.
This was so
Thank
fun.
you. And you need to tell me some good tattoo places in Nashville.
Okay.
She's got some good ones, and I have one down, many more to go. Mom and Dad, sorry.
I have the place. I'll tell you off camera. Yeah.
Okay, cut. I need that.